Hello and welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl, and here we are back for another one of our Sons of the Forest videos. So we did sort of mid-build update video before as we were putting our structure together, and we've basically finished it. There's going to be the odd thing we're going to add, and there's updates with new stuff, of course, but by and large, the whole thing is finished. Now, I think the question in my mind, is this the biggest solo structure that's been done in terms of raw materials without spawning anything in, using glitches to gain extra logs, using the console or anything else? So everything you're going to see in this build was gathered. Sticks, stones were gathered one by me and Kelvin. Every single log was chopped down by me. There was no glitches used. There was no respawn things used or console used or anything like that. All the equipment that I got has been scavenged or pillaged from raiding cannibal camps, as well as progressing through the game. So, where are we? How did we get here? So we did a custom game, and the custom game is realistic day length, realistic season length, which definitely helps us when it comes to wanting to do a massive build and not constantly being attacked. So, to start off with, where are we? We're on day 5 of realistic day length. We've just slept, and it is 7:30 in the morning. So day 5 of that realistic time frame. Can we see? Not quite. You can just kind of make it out the top right hand corner there, or top left hand corner. Our crash site was on the beach in the north, and you can see here where we're currently located, as where we chose to build our base. Now, it is a place that I consider to be the best base building location in the game, that does not abuse pathing of the cannibals, but it's rich in resources and a pretty nice central location. And you can just see on the map there, we're close to the first 3D printer cave and also the rope gun cave. So we started on day 1 and we went round, we built no base, and we collected every item in the game. Without the only place we haven't been is the Hell Cave at the end, right? So the only thing we haven't done is the last cave in the game, but we've been everywhere else, and we've even been since the new update came out. We've even got some of the new items. So you can see here we have the night vision goggles, for example. You can see that we've collected all the items in the game: the gold mask, the bow, the sled, guitar. You can see there's a skin pouch from one of the raids that we've done. You can see a bunch of Molotov cocktails. We've got the revolver, we've got the stun gun, we've got a fully equipped pistol with silencer, laser sight, torch on there, slingshot. We've got obviously the zipline gun and the shotgun there. You can see we've got stun batons, machetes, the cross. We've got spades, both the axes, the golf club, the legendary katana itself. We've got a torch which we carry. We've got the repair thing, paper targets, rebreathers, spade. There's the golden armour, so we did get that from the new location that they moved it to, and you can see we've got the clothes as well, to the point where we have all of the clothes in the game, and thereby you get the Steam achievement for doing so. So the first day was spent collecting all the items in the game, bar the new stuff that just came out, and then we started the build. So we're going to start at the top here and work our way down the main build and then explore what else that we've done. So if you can see where we are here, we're next to this river. This part of the water, you can see with the binoculars, all this part of the water here does not freeze in the winter, so we know that. And then you've got a little waterfall down, and then the river goes down there. So we're right on the top. So at the top here, we have picked up some of the new solar panels. So you can see we've got a bunch of solar panels out there, which we have scavenged for. And they do connect down below. So we come off. This is basically my observation platform. and we can see all the way down. You can see my treehouse network, which we'll come on to. You can see how many trees we have actually cleared all the way out over the back there. You can't actually see the stumps, but they're there. All the way up here, you can see up to a small sort of cannibal area there, all the way up and all the way covering this hill here. Now that was complete dense forest, and we have cut all of that down to build this structure. So you can see we have built a huge amount and cut down a huge amount of trees. So coming down here, what have we got? Right, well, we'll pick up some feathers. So we've got 2 of these birdhouses collecting feathers. You can see the 2 solar panels on top. These are the lights that gives, but we've also got some wall torches here as well, giving us light. Here's the other birdhouse that we have. We have the hang glider. The hang glider now sitting on top here, enabling us to make a quick exit should we need to. We've got 2 water areas here, so that when it rains we can collect water even within our base. Some more solar panels, and what I wanted to do was, the whole purpose of the base was to ensure that the aim wasn't just to build the biggest thing, right? The aim was to make sure that it was functional. And while it's all very nice having these sort of angled roofs and everything, I actually wanted the roof something to stand on. You know, if you think about any sort of big structure that you wanted to make defensive, you actually want to use even the roof to move around on and use. So with that in mind, that's our sort of observation area. But we have a nice little campfire up here, 3 benches to relax on for me, Virginia, and Kelvin. But you can come all the way over here and look down across the entirety of this massive structure that we have built. And I call it a structure rather than a castle. It's castle-like in nature with the walls, and this is kind of like the main castle keep, if you like. But it is more of a sort of skyscraper high-rise in terms of how it looks. So we come on to our covered observation area, and this is where we really start in terms of having some of our escape routes. Escape routes have also been a thing we've considered here. So a bunch of wall torches here, which we are going to extend with more bulbs and wires as well, but ensuring that we have plenty of light at night time. But as we come from this corner, we move along, you can see we've got the first of our zip lines here. That goes and starts one of our treehouse network areas. This zip line takes us to that lookout tower, meaning that we can get to our outer wall fortifications rapidly. We come across here, and you can see we've got a zip line that goes to this lookout tower for our outer wall fortifications on this side. We've got another zip line which goes completely outside the fortifications, which allows us to completely get out of the castle and escape if you don't take the hang glider. And if we come around on this side, you can see again we've got another zip line which goes off to our treehouse network that way. Wall torches again all around where our zip lines are, which means at night time we can still find our way around. So that is this sort of observation layer we've got, and you can see here, again, plenty of room, supporting beams and everything. We needed to do that. The one thing, obviously, that has changed now is how that you can build stairs closer to these walls now. So I would have been able to save room. But as I said, overall, the goal was not to build the tallest structure, but I would have built the stairs now over to one side rather than being in the middle in any future builds. All right, so moving down off the observation areas into the first of our rooms, plenty of windows so that we can look out as well in this particular area. We've got the start of our lights from our solar panel network just in this area by the door completely lockable, of course. And as you come around here, you can see that I've got my own little greenhouse thing going on here. We've got plants which are now actually at a point where they grow, so aloe vera in there. We've got a bunch of berries, blackberries, we've got blueberries, we've got chicory, we've got, say, aloe vera in here as well. So this is where all our plants are. Still more to go, plenty of windows, but I also have a doorway here, and this is got 2 functions. So it provides an escape route But you can see here, it goes out to that log and then out to this log over here. And this is a way of getting logs from either there or across that way into the structure quickly. We just zip line the logs, they come flying in here, and you can get the logs should you need to build more cupboards and that sort of stuff, rather than having to walk them around everywhere. So this is a greenhouse area, but it's also a good place to shoot logs into the side there. So we come out of this wall, and one thing you'll note, we can actually, even if I lock the door, I can see down into this area. So should you get attacked, you can defend the door even while it's locked with arrows and so on. As we come out here, because we've got 2 more solar panels up here, and that leads us down into our armory. So on our armory level, again, plenty of windows. You can see we've got 4 of the new mannequin structures that are there to store armor. They've got an empty one, as you can see here, and we've got 2 full suits of tech armor. And the way we did that is every time, so we built obviously the flask and the mask and the sled. Once we built that, every printer we came across, we put the resin in and we built tech armor pieces. So that's what we did. And you can see we've got nearly a complete bone armor suit as well, now that we've started to, for collecting bones from burning bodies that we've raided. And you can see this is the first, and right now only level that has complete electric lighting from the solar panels. So this is the first one that's done it. As we collect more wire and bulbs, that's something we'll do. We had plenty of wire because it wasn't used that much in most things, but wire now is a scarce commodity, and you'll probably find you'll have more light bulbs than you will have wire after doing 1 floor of this, which is what I found out. As we come through here, you can see these are now the armory shelves, 3 shelves here, but at the moment we did have armor on here when the mannequins weren't working, but now the mannequins are working. We've now taken the armor off, but we've got a bunch of carbon fiber arrows. We've got 3D printed arrows here. We've got some the homemade flint arrows, and then we've got 2 stacks of crossbows in here. We've got some slugs, some buckshot, and some 9mm ammo as well. So this is the fully lit area, and this is one I wanted to light up first as be fully lit, because it is the armory. Again, plenty of windows here so that we can see out. And again, if you are getting attacked up through the stairs, you can shoot arrows through these areas and defend the door while it's locked. So we've got plenty, again, vision coming through here. So you can kind of defend yourself on each level. So as the enemies break in the ground, you can basically go up each level as a defensive area, defend. You can even come up to here, that's where all the ammo is. And then once you get up onto these top levels, if it gets too hairy, you can obviously use the escape routes with the zip lines or the hang glider. So this is our general storage level. Again, plenty of observation here as we've come down, plenty of wall torches lighting everywhere. Obviously that was put up before we had all the bulbs and the solar panels and so on. So this will eventually make use of that. But this is sort of general storage. We've got tape, we've got wire, oxygen bottles, flares, pills, circuit boards, and all of this stuff has been gleaned both on the first day that you went out and I was getting all the piece of equipment, and since then when I've been going out and I needed specific equipment, if I came across a cannibal camp, I would raid it. I will go back into caves occasionally and essentially do supply excursions and essentially mini self-made missions to go out and get more rope, for example, or whatever it happens to be. But you can see, fortunately, I've got plenty of wire stored up when we get some more bulbs, plenty of rope in there as well. Certainly what I did find early on was batteries were a problem. We've now got some good stacks, but I was using batteries quite a lot, building the tech armor and also in the torch as I was in caves a lot, certainly in that first day. Batteries obviously now incredibly useful now with the night vision goggles as well. So batteries, something to make sure that you can try and get plenty of. And don't forget, circuit boards are now easier to obtain than I first thought, now that I've realized you can bash laptops and stuff like that to get the circuit boards out of them. So there are actually more circuit boards out of there than you realize at first. So, but again, as more things are added to the game, we have plenty of storage areas. You can see how massive the structure is, and I think how many logs. Every wall section has 6 logs in it. right? That's one tree for every wall section that we've cut down pretty much on average. Think how many wall sections. So just in this back wall here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections. That's 36 logs just in that one wall section. Every square on the floor is 2.5 logs, right? So there's 1, so that's 6 again, right? So, you know, again, you're up to 12, you know, sort of 15 logs there. So you can imagine how many logs it has actually taken to build this. Logs to build the shelving, logs to build the stairs as we come all around here as well. So again, another lockable door and a defensive area as we lead down to the next level. So next level as we come down, this is our living area, and there are very few windows. There are windows to defend the door and windows to defend this door. This door actually leads to a drop. That drop is essentially an escape route. You drop onto a platform below, you go over that rock, and you can get straight out of that gate or into that lookout tower. So it gives us another exit. But essentially, this is our living area. So we've got a nice table here, we've got a chandelier, and you can see all our stacked food, cans, everything that we've been able to gather. And what I do is, before I go out, obviously on a raid, I will empty my bags pretty much until, you know, I've got, like, I carry 1 can of fizzy pop, 1 energy bar, that sort of stuff, so that, you know, we can refill. We've got a nice campfire set up in the corner. One of the things I would like to see in the game is some sort of fireplace would be cool, or some sort of cooking stove thing would be cool, utilizing stones and wood and so on, something that could be built quite easily rather than like a campfire. 3 beds, not needed. You can obviously save on each one, but, you know, there are 3 of us, Kelvin, Virginia, and myself, so we've got 3 beds in here. But it would be nice if we were able to enhance these beds, maybe collect a sleeping bag that would be needed in the winter, put animal hides on here, or so on, and maybe something along the lines of, well, see, when you sleep, you get back your full energy. Now, it'd be quite nice if, like, on a basic stick bed like this, you maybe only got back half your energy. On a bed that had leaves and animal hides, you might get back 3/4, and if you had a bed and a sleeping bag, you might then get your full energy. So that I think could be something that would be quite interesting as well. Okay, so that is our living area, but we have less windows here, right, in our living area. The other door that we have, this door over here, leads out onto a lookout tower, so we can get straight out onto that lookout tower from this door. All doors, obviously, are lockable. So again, defensive area here as we come down to the bottom level. There's Virginia in the dress that we picked up for her. Hello, Virginia. And essentially, this is our raw material storing area. So we've got our drying racks on here, plenty of fish and meat, as you can see. We've got stick racks, stone racks, and a bone rack. The 1 bone left because we've been making bone. But again, you can see how massive this structure has become, and you'll see it again outside. Now, the ground floor here has 4 doors. So we've got a door that comes out on this side, door over there. We've got a random deer that is somehow able to get through walls. The main entrance door here, and then the door below the one that was on the area above that comes out onto that platform that we talked about. So that is the main structure itself. As we come down the bottom, you can see we've got all this area underneath where you could store other things, of course. It's a good supply of large rocks. Excuse me, good supply of large rocks and so on here, and occasionally a few sticks that you can pick up. But that is the main structure, and as you can see how high up it goes there. And the reason we built on a platform basis like this, and I recommend doing this actually with every structure, even where it looks flat, it's not as flat as you think. So if you want to create a big sort of wide base, raising it off the ground allows you to essentially self-level by chopping the logs down and keeping them flat, which is what we did here. So if we look inside the wall here, then we've got lookout tower on that corner. Every lookout tower has a wall torch. We've got a lookout tower on this thing. Now, the good thing here is again, because we raised it off the ground, you can come underneath and still access the door. So you can build the lookout tower very close. This is Kelvin and Virginia's favourite spot. We've got a nice little fireplace out here next to the waterfall and a bench. And there's a unicycle. That is the one of the new items in the game, the latest update. Again, wall torches on the way around, and this is our main gate, and we'll come on to those in a bit. We've got another main gate area here. You can actually get water from inside the base, which is nice, from all of these areas. So that's very good. Stack of firewood. As we come around this side, more steps going up in the main base. We've got a gate here, which is a really good gate, and I'll talk about this one now while we're here, because it just goes straight out into the water. This water is shallow, but it does go deep. The cannibals don't generally cross this water. But as we come round here, we have a fish trap in the water here. That's where we're collecting our fish from. But as I say, the cannibals don't come here, so they don't like the deep water. They can't swim. So that provides a nice base defense. And if it froze during the winter, then we'd be able to build a wall on top of that and spikes like we've done elsewhere. So more lookout towers. Lookout tower covering this gate, and we have a gate in the corner. Lookout tower here, all the way around, another lookout tower. And over here then, where we had that platform and the two doors I showed you, we've now got another lookout tower. It's overlooking this gate as well. And there's the lookout tower in the corner. So lots of lookout towers, plenty of gates, lots of exits in and out of the main structure. So once we come outside this gate, we've got a whole bunch of traps, and we're going to set them off. We'll close the gate. So what you can see out here, what I've done is we've got obviously double row of reinforced spikes that run along, but rather than running them right up against the wall, I leave a gap. And the reason is because I can then fight from behind the spikes, right? So I keep the spikes between me and the enemy, and I use a spear or a bow, and you can fight from behind the spikes. So we're on our first sort of set of wall defenses here. We've got this gap area that leads up to a second gate, which we'll come on to, and that's full of traps all the way out. And you can see here how many sticks, how many rocks. 3 rocks for every single stick. And you can only carry like 10 rocks, right? So we've got an awful lot of rocks here. It's quite easy to get deer. They keep killing themselves on the spikes. But as you can see here, I can fight from behind all of these rocks. We've got a nice big open area here. I thought about maybe even putting a log cabin in here, just as an extra place of storage or refuge or whatever you need. So that's something I might do, clear these stumps away. But I can fight. And the reason I did that is because no good having the spikes below this, because then they can just jump over them. So we have to have the spikes go all the way up here. But again, you can fight from behind these spikes, right? So that's why we've got the spikes well away from the wall. It allows us to fight while having those spikes in between. We've got some of our log storage, which was left from before, but with a few logs in it, just in case we need some repairs. And those spikes come all the way around the wall. All right, you can think how many rocks I had to collect to get there. And we come all the way around to the gate, which then leads us back in this side of the structure. Again, so there's only 2 entrances that go through that layer of spikes. So while I have more gates, those gates just come out behind the spikes. There's actually only 2 entrances, one on that far side and one on this side, that lead all the way through to that secondary layer of defences. Now, I'm going to do this from the outside, but you can see here we've got, again, another wall with a whole bunch of spike defences. So let's set off all the traps as we come through. And we open the gate there. Dry throat. Right, okay. And you can see now here we are on our outer layer of defence. We've got double layer of defences except around the lake. As I said, if the lake freezes, we will link up this wall with the secondary wall over there, and that would then cover us. But this lake doesn't freeze, so we don't generally have to worry about that. Now, if the enemy do decide to come around this way, now this is too deep. You can see we're already swimming. So the cannibals won't come that way, but if for whatever reason they could, we do have spikes around there as well. This is actually too deep for them. Right, you can see here we have a zip line that runs up to a log here. That, again, is for collecting logs from this area. You can see where we've cleared a bunch of logs. And what we've done here is the spikes are now up against the wall, and we're using that sort of ramp spike technique. So you create these ramps, you put the spikes on the ramps, and the enemy then run into them. Which is quite good and quite a strong structure. Anywhere where there's gaps, we've got spikes on the floor to deter as well. Because unfortunately, the wall is not completely flat. It's also on hills, so you can't build this type of ramp spike structure all the way around in a nice way. So you have to mitigate that with some of these ground spikes as well. We've got that in most of the places. You can see there may be a couple of gaps in there, but I'm really not too worried. The whole point is we've got, look at these overlapping towers. I think there's a total of 9 lookout towers on this secondary wall, which overlap. And the aim of that is I can stand on a lookout tower, shoot down on anyone that even gets remotely close to the wall. We've got spare logs and a repair tool to repair any damage to the structure that we have. And we keep explosives away from the wall. We just do not use explosives near the wall. We rely on crossbow and arrow predominantly, but we do obviously have backup shotgun and so on. Now, this area was a pain. This was the biggest pain on the wall. Because of the way the slope was, you couldn't build these ramps. It just wouldn't let you do it. So we had to, in this area, go with the double spikes. And rather than building them right up close to the wall, we built them with a little bit of a gap. Again, there's a gate in there, which allows me to come through the gate and fight from behind the spikes, which seems to work quite well. But you come all the way back up here, you can see a zip line that runs around there to collect the logs. But as we come round, again, how many rocks and spikes that it's taken to do this, how many logs to build the wall, and then build the ramp sections that then go over the wall to put the spikes in. And you can see we've got that going all the way around. You can see like actually how many trees we've cleared, this dense forest that's now essentially a nice open area. And you can see again lookout towers overhanging the wall, right? And that's key. The lookout towers must overhang the wall so you can shoot down on people that are attacking the wall. Again, a little gap on the corner here, reinforced by stuff on the ground. Same here. You can see the slight slope wouldn't let me build the ramp, but reinforced spike areas all the way down here. More lookout towers. There's another 3 lookout towers as we come down here. And all the resources needed to build those. Spikes all the way across there. Double set of spikes here as we come down all the way to the water area. And again, this is shallow enough to walk. Should you try and come round here, you'll be met again with a row of spikes all the way up this area. Alright, so there's pretty much no way an AI cannibal is going to get in through that way. Now, if they start making cannibals that can climb cliff faces, we'll have to start putting spikes at the top there. But right now, there's no way that the AI can get there. And that brings us all the way back round this way into this gate here that we talked about before. Not worried about the traps right now, but is a point to note. We do have a considerable number of traps as you get in next to all these gates where, you know, the gates are the vulnerable points, right? So anyone that comes in is going to meet with these traps. And again, on the inside here at night time, you can see we have wall torches that go all the way around the entire facility so that you can see the extent of that wall. All right, so that is the structure itself. Okay, so let's now explore what goes beyond, because it isn't just this structure that we've built. All right, so this is the main part. All right, so we've now come all the way to the top in our covered observation area, and we're going to go down this way first. So we get on this zip line. to our first tree platform. Now, the open platforms are the best to traverse around, so we've got a nice little cruciform platform that we've built here, and you can look back and you can see how big this structure is. And I reinforce, no logs were spawned, were glitched, or anyway, every single log in this structure was from a chopped down tree. Okay, and you can see the double layer of wall, the double layer of spikes, making some pretty substantial defenses there. But, okay, why have we got these platforms? Right, so the first one here, this takes us to this area, and we can drop straight down off the platform without taking damage. I'm going to switch to a weapon just in case we do get caught out. I normally like to run around with a katana. But straight away, we drop down here. Oh, and there's a rope. And there's the entrance to the Zipline Cave, and there can be some pretty good resources in there. There's some time bombs by the sluggy. You can maybe get some respawn of creepies to boost your creepy armour. There's ammo in there. All that respawns, right? And that, when this was originally built, it was when the update came out that the crates, once they were opened, remained opened, right? So I was basing everything upon these crates, which now have items in them. Oh, we've got a solar panel and some batteries that had items in them, not being able to be opened. I know that's since changed. Another solar panel. Plenty of solar panels. But I was basing that on those not being available, right? That those crates were opened. But so I want to be close to caves where I know stuff on the ground will respawn. So you come up here, and we've got another 2 crates over here. So for the purpose of where we are now, the crates respawn. Personally, as someone that loves the custom game, I wish they would make the custom game so that the crates respawned. You could set it for once every day for those people that like that, once every 3 days, or once every 7 days, or something along those lines, and then a never, right? So for the people that like that, they can have the crates respawn at a set time of their choosing, so people can play the game how they want to. But what we did was, we also built a little house here. This is our first of our escape houses, right? Lockable door again. We need to actually put the lock on that door. We haven't done it. But the intention will be, again, put some windows in here. And when we get additional supplies, I don't want to put in the main structure. We'll have some supplies based in here as part of our escape area or emergency supplies. So we come onto this treehouse. So we've got the treehouse, the zip line that comes from the main structure down to that platform, to this platform, and then I can get to this treehouse and I have access to this cave. But it keeps going. So now we zip line. And you can see again, we've chopped down all these trees to get to this zip line network. We've collected and scavenged these ropes. Where did we find all the zip lines? A lot of 3D printing of grapple hooks. So 3D printer and resin was incredibly useful, coupled with getting plenty of actually zip lines in crates, which was quite useful. So we've got a zip line now that runs all the way down here. You can see a lot of zip lines. The biggest problem was judging how far away to build the platform and the zip line still being able to reach. So the zip lines aren't incredibly long. But they work so they're long enough. So where does it go? Well, we keep going all the way down here, and oh look, we've got another little house. Well, a house normally denotes somewhere important. So we're going to zip line across to the house first, and you can see on the map here we've got a little green dot, and just down in that hole down there is the 3D printer bunker. So there's a 3D printer, there's a save point in there, there's a bunch of carbon fiber arrows and crossbows in there. You've got the 3D printer itself, plus we have the key card, so you can go in the other area. And again, it's that whole point of, based upon crates not respawning items, there's still a lot of items to scavenge in the bunker complex itself that will respawn. And if you're going to survive here for a long time, you're going to need those respawns, right? So that's a good place, and having access to 3D printers excellent for that tech armor, for extra arrows and grappling hooks. And again, in here, we've got the windows in this time. We've got the lock on the door, but we want to put extra items. Now, you'll notice I haven't put items in any of these houses. The reason for that, there's still a bit of a bug with enemies. So what I found in one of the tree houses was I was outside. The enemy jumped on the tree to climb it of the tree house I was in, and he essentially just came up through the floor. So the floor didn't stop the enemy coming in the house. So that's still a problem, which means that would be a problem. But this zipline network continues. So let's go and see where it takes us. And you can actually see how far we've come, how many zip lines, how many platforms. We think how many raids we've had to do on cannibal camps to get that rope and scavenging all over. So I have found a place which has an enormous amount of rope and cloth, which I will show you later. So we zipline all the way down here. Why do we zipline? It's not faster than running, I can tell you that. I could run on the floor faster, but while I was building even these platforms, I was regularly being attacked by muddies. And of course, as time goes on, there's going to be more and more enemies on the ground. And this provides a safe means of travel. So we come all the way down here. And, oh look, we can see the sea. We can see the sea. And there's the beach area. So let's keep going. And we go a bit more. Think how many platforms? Every platform needs a rope. Every zip line needs a rope or a zip line from a case. How many, again, trees we had to cut down to get to all the platforms. So we zip line all the way out. We've got a house here on the beach. Look at that, tree house on the beach. Lovely. And if you look in the distance there, you can see the life raft, which holds the 9mm pistol. And so we've got a zipline network that takes us down past the Zipline Cave, past the 3D printer bunker, all the way out to the beach area here. So if there's anything that you need from the beach, just down in those rocks down there is a whole bunch of respawning items on the floor. There's a radio down there as well. And you can see you've got access to sea turtles and anything else that you might want from the beach area in the future. And again, a tree house at the end for emergency storing of items, maybe put a bed in there as an emergency save point, and so on. But that's the end of this zipline network. So if we bring out the map, you can see there on our GPS, if we zoom out, you can see where K is, Kelvin, that's the base. Doesn't look as though we've gone very far when you actually consider the size of the island. It's a massive island, right? But you can clearly now see the spawn point. So we're not really that far away now to go back to the crash site. And we know that in the current rules of the game that they will respawn the items. So that's an option. You can see we're very much close to the 3 green dots for bunkers and also caves as well. But when you actually look on the GPS, actually how far we've ziplined, it is quite a way. Now, let's head back to our main base. So now you can see why we're on day 5, having built all of this. And that's why I say, you know, is this the biggest structure network that's been done solo without using log glitches or console spawns or anything like that? I believe it possibly could be in the sheer amount of raw materials used. I'm not saying it's the tallest structure or anything like that, but I do think it is one of, if not the biggest structure that's been put together solo without glitching or spawning raw materials, having gathered everything that's been done completely solo, so not in a multiplayer scenario. And that includes not just the big structure that we started in, but this treehouse network as well. Which is significant. Which is significant. And you can see actually how far it is to go back with the zipline, how many treehouse platforms we've had to build, as well as having the treehouse itself. And what I did was I actually I cut down the trees between the two platforms to build the platform. So that's why we've kind of got this almost tunnel effect leading through the trees. And I didn't have to... It basically meant it was efficient. I didn't have to clear too many trees to ensure that we had a clear path. So you can see we're now making our way all the way back to the main structure. So we've been all the way out to the ocean via some important areas of interest. And we go all the way back. And there you can see as we come in actually how big our structure is. Okay. You can see there how big that structure is. You can also see, it's a good place to see here. In fact, no, we'll see from the other side. But you can see where the kind of the waterfall is. There's like a cliff area. And you can also see there's like a rocky path that goes in from one side of the river to the other. The cannibals do like to attack across that. So we do have, again, a double layer of defenses there. So this takes us all the way back into the main structure. But that's not the end. So we come down on this side and we now have a completely separate tree house network. So we come down here onto this platform. This platform is the beginning of our next treehouse network, but also provides an area for us to shoot cannibals that are attacking these set of defenses. And you can see again, we've gone for a double layer of walls, no gates on this side, but with the ramps, with the spikes, reinforced spikes all the way around on the shoreline here as well to the shallower water should the cannibals decide to try and walk around, which they could try and do because it is shallow enough for them to walk in. They're going to have to go through spikes to do that, and we can clearly shoot them with arrows from here very easily. But we're going to come along and see where this treehouse network goes. Now, the one challenge going this way with the treehouse network is we were going uphill, up some quite steep hills. So you had to get the heights right. You had to make sure the zip line was high enough up the tree that when you came from the lower level, you didn't hit the platform and get knocked off. And that was probably one of the biggest challenges, is when you're building the treehouse platforms with zip lines to make, and you're going up and down hills to make sure the zip line connects on the right part of the tree so that you can actually successfully make the zip line. So we're coming all the way up this hill area, and you can see we are having to we actually that's my fault. I was pressing the move button while on the zip line. So we come up here and you can see that we're now going almost following this river up the hill. Okay, and we keep going. And still going. You can see again how extensive this zipline network is, all completed solo. And we're not on peaceful mode. As I said, we've actually raided cannibal camps. You saw the skin pouch in there. This is not peaceful mode, okay? There are cannibals out there, creepies out there, and you will get raided. Though it does take a lot longer for the enemies to build up. As I said, we're on realistic day length, realistic season length. We're only on day 5, and yet we've been able to do all this. So the reason for doing that, it enables you to do a big structure without getting raided a lot early on. Okay, so this takes us to an initial camp here, and you can see a tree house on the edge of this waterfall. So let's go down there. Let's go turn the music off. So this is the camp that you will find the winter jacket. There's a winter jacket in there. Useful. There's a spear here, which is nice as well. A couple of items to loot. We've got there's 2 of the unicycles there. There's a fizzy drink. There's a whole bunch of there's some food. There's some medicine on the floor, plus some save points. You've got a bunch of crates here, which is all very nice. 2 circuit boards on that one. There's a bunch of coins in here. Don't underestimate the coins. Very useful for building your bombs. And you've got some coffins which you can open, and I do recommend that you do, because you get rope, you get cloth, coins, watches, and all that sort of good stuff from here. There's some turtles, very easy to kill, and get meat. Very easy to get meat from here. 2 more ropes. My word, we've got a whole bunch of rope drops. Now, at this point, I got 2 options. I can either go back on the zip line, or we can go round a little walk that's very short and relatively safe. But it will just to show you where we are. And as we come up here, yeah, you can get chicory. There's a whole bunch of chicory here. There's a bunch of rocks and sticks to collect as well as you come up this hill. And this is my favourite place for collecting rope. So you've already seen how much rope came out of those coffins. Well, on top of this waterfall, lovely area, is a whole bunch more coffins. And there's another rope. And then we open that and there's 2 more ropes. And we're already full of rope. And there's rope and wire. And in here there's cloth. And there's skulls on top of these pillars if you want to build skull lamps. So we just take that. And there's yet even more rope and cloth. There's so much rope, it is unbelievable. And we've got some cloth and wire in that one. We've got some more cloth and wire, rope, cloth. Cloth obviously great for those torches. And 2 more pieces of rope, which are on the ground. And they will respawn because they're on the ground, right? It's not like the crates. And you come all the way across here. And you come to this treehouse. Which brings us to the end of this treehouse network. So I can either use the treehouse network to get all the way up on top, or I can go down to that treehouse, clear out the camp, and then do a little short walk, come up on top here, and we're now at this treehouse. And if we go up here, again, windows are in, lockable door. Currently, no supplies in here because of the glitch of the cannibals able just to get inside the house. But let's follow this zipline network now all the way back. So you can see again, making our way down the steep hill, which was the main challenge. You can see here having to get it right in terms of being able to zipline down, not hit the platform. And we come here, we take a left, we come back over, and there's the platform that took us to that camp in the first place. And you can see, so we've only got 3 more extra zip lines there. Now we can go all the way back. So you can see, not only do we have an enormous structure with double layer, palisade wall, and spike defenses, we have 2 very extensive zipline networks taking us to points of interest, enabling us to reach and farm resources that we know would respawn, so non-crate resources, but where the game currently is, also those crates as well. So hugely important if you want to spend, 100 days here or whatever. I say we're on realistic day length. So 100 days here is like a lot of in-game time, right? But it's not 100 days of in-game time because you sleep for 12 hours, right? So, every day represents 12 hours of game time. We're on day 5. So you can see how many hours we've been in-game so far already. You can now start to see the structure appearing over the hill there. As we come round. And this one here. So I'm just going to stop here a sec again, just give you a sense of the size of the structure, how many logs are included in this structure. I don't know. I honestly don't know how many logs I've used. But we're into thousands, right? Thousands and thousands of logs. It's well over... if I think, 5 lookout towers is like 300, 400 logs, something like that. And we've got, 5, we've got 14 or so of those lookout towers. So, you're probably in 1,000 logs just in lookout towers. Plus, think about then all the tree platforms and tree houses we've had to build as well. So, yes, I think this has been an enormous project. You can see how high as we come up here, to the point where actually having the hang glider up here, you could easily take off from here, no problem at all, and probably escape. And what we've got is we've got a nice clear pathway. Grab the hang glider, fly out between those trees, gain a little bit of height, and then you could be out that way. So many different escape routes, but you know, shouldn't actually have to use them. So just one more time as we look round, double layer spike defenses all around this massive platform that we have here. So is this the biggest solo build, including those zipline treehouse networks? It's the biggest build I've seen online so far, where nothing has been glitched or spawned in the game. I've seen a lot of big builds, but people have been spawning logs, they've been in peaceful mode, or they've been in multiplayer. So as far as I know, and I'm sure there will always be somebody that's done something bigger, but as far as I know from what I've seen, this is the biggest solo build project, not in peaceful mode. We are in, we do have enemies around, we do get raided. So, you know, not in peaceful mode, not spawning in any materials at all. Everything is scavenged. Everything is either, all the logs are chopped down. We've got all the items in the game that are currently in the game. Hang gliders, unicycles, night vision goggles. You know, I like to think, you know, we've got the solar panels now, the bulbs, everything. So pretty much we've got every item in the game that's currently available in the game, up to the gold armor as well. We've got every piece of clothing in the game and the Steam achievement that goes with that. So, which I think is a pretty massive achievement. So, guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this. Certainly, it's been enjoyable for me. I'm going to keep this build going. I'm going to keep having 2 saves. I'm going to have 1 save, which I'm leaving fairly early on, so that as new stuff comes out, we can go exploring. But I'm also going to keep 1 save going as well as the days progress. And we're going to see how far we can get in terms of that realistic day length as we progress through the game. And obviously we'll get raided more and there'll be more enemies and so on. I hope you have enjoyed this. If you liked it, you just give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, then give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below why you didn't like it. If you want to see more content, please hit the subscribe button. It's free for you to do, but it means a lot for me. So thank you for that in advance. This is Sons of the Forest. It's a fantastic game. It's in early access. It's on Steam. I do recommend you pick it up. I think the build system is great. Yes, there are bugs. Yes, there are things that need to be worked out, but it's getting better all the time. It's on a 2-weekly update cycle, which so far is working well. They're adding new things all the time. I just hope it doesn't stay in early access too long and we get to a full game, which would be awesome. And you can just see the sun going behind the clouds there. You've been watching The Ghost Owl. Tune back in for some more Let's Play, playthrough videos, World of Tank videos, whatever is currently going through. Total Warhammer 3 coming up soon as well, with Chaos Dwarfs in the new update not far off as well. See you soon.